Good evening. Sadiq Khan strikes again. After a year that saw a record rise in anti-Semitism, a terror attack by a Syrian bloke called Jihad, a foiled terrorist attack by two Tunisian ISIS fanatics, and what seemed like near daily stories about some asylum seekers committing sexual assaults on young women, he was out last night, still saying stuff like this.
Unfortunately, we know there are bad people that want to cause us harm. We saw what happened in the synagogue in Manchester when Jewish people were killed for another reason but their faith. We saw what happened on Bondi Beach when Jewish Australians were celebrating Hanukkah. So we've got to be cognizant of us being a target. Why are we a target? Because of our diversity, because we respect each other, because we believe in pluralism.
Oh yeah, that's it, Sadiq. Yeah, absolutely 100% diversity is our strength. It turns out, though, that he does like borders when it suits him. Barricades and security all around his firework display, and the public was stopped from going to a public park to view the fireworks for free. Obviously, just to keep people out who didn't have a ticket. Nothing to do with Islamist terrorism. Say what you like about Sadiq Khan, but there's no way that he's some kind of narcissistic egomaniac or anything like that at all. Yeah, and then we saw his beloved EU flag before we saw our own.
Done it, and on American soil, Europe have retained the Ryder Cup.
He then reduced Britishness to being all about a cup of tea.
England to me is a cup of tea. How many sugars? I'm sweet enough. England to me is Caribbean barbers with the sharpest trim.
England to me is Caribbean barbers with the sharpest trim. And then it turns out that Britain isn't really about British people at all, actually. It's about literally every single other country and nationality in the world.
Because this is what England means to me. It's about loving each other, no matter what colour you are, where you're from, or who your God is.
Well, I suppose he's not wrong, is he? Britain has become nothing more than a plot of land in the middle of the sea where people from all over the world can live, or even just break into. I mean, this bit made me laugh.
It's Christian neighbours saying Happy Hanukkah, mate.
It's Christian neighbours saying Happy Hanukkah, mate. Why didn't they say Muslim neighbours saying Happy Hanukkah? I wonder, but here we go.
Muslim mum saying Merry Christmas, love.
Muslim mums saying Merry Christmas, love. All right, interesting that, because, of course, in the run-up to Christmas, one of Britain's leading Muslim news outlets put this video out talking about how it was dangerous for Muslims to actually celebrate Christmas.
God, you look so cute. Right here. Okay.
MashaAllah, adorable.
Assalamu alaikum, guys.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Are you guys celebrating Christmas?
Sure are.
Beautiful lights, Christmas vibes, it's the best. You do know by celebrating Christmas, you're agreeing that Allah has a son, right? Dad? Is that true?
Brilliant. Sadiq Khan can keep trying to gaslight us about how London is a multicultural success story where we all just walk around in peace and harmony, just hugging each other, walk around the street, hey, do you want a hug? Yeah, I'll give you a hug. But nobody's buying it anymore.
Everyone is here, my people. Alhamdulillah. Have a look. 360 degrees. All you can see is the mandem, the brothers. We're located and we are here.
The mandem there. There were millions of people shouting at their television screens last night at Sadiq Khan's fireworks. But the people who actually bought tickets weren't that happy either.
45 quid. The view from this section is f***ing awful as well. Yeah, you can see the back of the London Eye, but you also get to see the back of a building site. The fireworks themselves were, fireworks, loud and bangy, but I've just watched it back on the BBC and this whole thing is definitely set up for TV.
Oh well, I suppose the good news is it's a whole year before we have to be subjected to Sadiq Khan's vanity firework display again. There's nothing more important than keeping your money and your identity safe online. And with so many VPN options available, choosing the right one can be pretty daunting. But this video's sponsor, ExpressVPN, is making the choice easier for GB News viewers. ExpressVPN is offering up to 75% off, plus 4 extra months free. That's top-level security from just £2.49 a month, and you're covered by their 30-day money-back guarantee. So just click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code now. Remember, when you're online, you are often sharing personal data, so hackers can steal your information, your passwords, your photos, and your bank details in just seconds. But ExpressVPN encrypts your connection, making it virtually impossible for hackers to access your personal information. So why choose ExpressVPN? Well, it couldn't be easier to use. With just one click, you are protected. And ExpressVPN uses military-grade AES 256 encryption, which is the same standard trusted by the US government to guard their classified information. With their new tiered plans, you can protect up to 14 devices at once and manage passwords securely. Live chat support is available 24/7, and it typically connects you in under a minute with a real person. Click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code to get up to 75% off ExpressVPN, plus 4 months extra for free. Start protecting yourself today with ExpressVPN. Let's get the thoughts of my panel. We have got political commentator Chloe Dobbs, former Tory advisor James Price, former Labour advisor Susie Stride. Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year. Thank you for coming in on the evening of New Year's Day. James, I'll start with you there. Sadiq Khan's firework display. Did you find it offensive, or were you all right with it?
It was just so enriching, wasn't it, to be sneered at via a brand new medium of fireworks again. I'm hesitant even to talk about it because this is obviously what Sadiq Khan wants, right? He wants people like me to be on the telly and be angry about it, so we can go to his base and say, look, these evil right-wingers, they hate you, they hate how wonderfully diverse we are and all the rest of it, which is obviously not true. And that's why I think he also included the EU flag. And I said, oh no, it was because Europe won the Ryder Cup. No, come on. We know it's because he wants to get these sorts of headlines. He wants to generate some of these sorts of stories. One of the things that actually got generated in the end was that it looked for a while as if the Israel flag, included on there, omitted the Star of David and said, oh, it's just a technical problem and all the rest of it. I'd be willing to believe that if it weren't for the fact that Jews increasingly are being targeted in this country and feel unsafe. We've even got to a point where someone might conceive that the Mayor of London is omitting the Star of David from an Israel flag in a firework display. If I'd have said that to someone a few years ago, you'd tell I've been taking crazy pills. But that's the kind of level we've got to now in the country where we can get angry about this because that's how bad I think cultural relations have got.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously, as you know, he strongly denied it, but you never know these days, unfortunately, but like I said, he strongly denied it. Chloe, is Englishness to you just about a cup of tea, innit?
No, of course not. And I thought it was mad how they then went on to say that Britishness is all about us celebrating everybody who isn't British. And I mean, I'll admit, as a country, we have been very welcoming. We're one of the least racist countries in the world. But that was clearly put in there as a message to say, all of you lot that say we need to clamp down on immigration, you are a bunch of nasty racists and you are not British.
Well, what did you make of it, Susie? Did you think that was a little bit, Britishness is about a cup of tea and Caribbean barbershops?
I mean, look, I didn't feel what you guys felt. When I watched that yesterday, I personally felt so much pride. And I'm not just saying this, like I really did. And I'm not saying, like, some of your criticisms, OK, fair enough. But I love the quote, your Christian neighbour saying Happy Hanukkah, your Muslim mum saying Merry Christmas. Because actually that is a big chunk of my experience of being a Londoner and living in London my whole life, is actually that we have incredible levels of community cohesion. Doesn't mean there aren't issues that we need to tackle. But what kind of concerned me a bit is I think sometimes we're conflating the fact that, we do have too high immigration, we have asylum problems, with the fact that one of the things that makes our country great is that we have been welcoming. My grandma came over on a boat. I'm Greek Cypriot. You're Greek Cypriot. We enrich this country. Well, we enrich this country with the diversity that we bring, and you see that in our music. You see that in our football. And, that is a good thing. My granddad, great-granddad and granddad fought in World War I and World War II. And they fought, I would say, for a country that they could be proud of. I want to be part of this country. I'm tired of us talking it down all the time. And I think it's really important to point out what is good. It is good that we have good levels of community cohesion. It is good that we have diversity. That is a strength. There is a problem with high levels of immigration and asylum. We've got to deal with that. We are dealing with that.
OK, well, what do you make of that, James?
It's a lot to unpack there. The idea that we've got great community cohesion, I think, is a little bit of a misnomer. A few years ago, I went and did a talk at the Jewish Free School. There was more security to get in there than when I visited the Bank of England's gold vaults. This is absolutely bonkers that we've got to this state. In London, you've got groups of Eritreans fighting groups of Ethiopians in the streets. In Leicester, you had self-identifying Hindus fighting Muslims on the streets of Britain. You know, if there's another conflict between India and Pakistan, who knows what might happen on the streets here. Ditto, as we've seen in Israel and Gaza, because we've imported all these people from all over the world. We've also imported all of their problems and all their hate. And I think it's such a misnomer to think that, you know, a nice Japanese tourist is going to be exactly the same and behave in exactly the same way as someone coming over from a third world country who wants to cream off the system.
The difference between me and you, James, is I agree with you. There are these issues. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to lie about it. We do have issues in individual areas, and we need to tackle them. And we do need to bring down numbers of illegal immigration. We need to sort out the asylum system and all this stuff. Absolutely. But I'm saying I'm not going to define our country by those problems. I'm going to say, yes, it's a problem. Yes, it's a challenge. We need to deal with it. And in fact, we're doing a better job than the Tories did. But
That's just
yes,
not true.
it is true. It is true. You guys left us a bulging asylum system. The hotels came from your lot. It was a slow processing system, which is why we are where we are. And Shabana Mahmood's going to deal with it. But I'm just saying, come on, this is...
I'll make that.
Sorry, Shabana Mahmood. But I think it's really important to say this is a great country, and the talking down isn't good. We need to not conflate those two things.
But this country, people are fed up in this country of having this diversity nonsense shoved down their throats. You've given us lovely examples of friends and family that you know that have integrated and contributed to this country. Everybody knows amazing people like that who have contributed to this country, but there are huge swathes of people who have come here and have committed crimes and are not integrating, and people are fed up of being fed this message that diversity is universally perfect and amazing.
Do you not think it is a little bit offensive, though, James, that you know, Britishness to me is a cup of tea.
I love a cup of tea.
I like a cup of tea. It's a cup of tea and Caribbean barbershops, and then the flag of every other nation in the world. I just thought, like, what's that about? Like, is that not... Like, if that was the other way around, like, if I'd said... You know, I mean, I'm not going to give the example because someone will clip it up and I'll be made to sound like an absolute frothing racist. But if I'd have said that about, like, Pakistan and done something, like, which is basically just like a really lazy trope, and then something else, you know what I mean? Like, that would have been... There's no way anyone would say that. There's no way Sadiq Khan would say that, you know? Like, so why do it about us?
Right. I think there's 2 points here, exactly right. One is this sort of tweeification, that all that Britain is, you say, a cup of tea, oh, we like to queue, don't we? And, oh, look, there's Paddington and all this sort of stuff, right? The idea that this isn't one of the oldest countries in the world, that hasn't invented the modern world, doesn't go back 1,500 years with the roots of a kind of parliamentary system going back into the Anglo-Saxon times. The amazing stuff we could do, that this city goes back to Roman times, all these other things. And instead it is just demeaned to, oh, you've got to be nice to people that come here and say sorry for all the great things that your ancestors did. People don't like that. They've never liked that. And it's getting to boiling point.
Especially after the year we've had. I mean, by the way, we are, later on in the show, going to cover... a story that broke a couple of hours ago, actually, which is about an Islamist prisoner who has been given £250,000. The ECHR said that he should get that. David Lammy chose not to challenge that ruling, even though he could have done. He had the right to appeal it. He just didn't. He's given him £250,000. But after the year that we've had, Chloe, I do wonder, you know, when politicians like Sadiq Khan, he's not the only one, when politicians stand up and do say that stuff about how diversity is our greatest strength, or diversity is our strength, our plurality is our strength. Is there any truth to that?
I mean, there's some diversity can be a strength in some centres, as Susie has outlined, of course, but there are so many stories. I mean, it's every single day, Patrick, we have another story of someone who shouldn't have been in this country, who has committed a heinous crime, a sexual assault, a rape or a murder. And we see it every single day, and it seems like people like Sadiq Khan just choose not to even acknowledge any of that. I mean, we've seen him completely disregarding the existence of grooming gangs in London, just for example, and they just insist and thrush down our throats this idea that diversity is absolutely perfect and immigration has caused no problems, and anyone who dares question it is some kind of evil right-wing racist.
Can I just say, one of the things that I've noticed happen quite a lot this year, and it's not just coming from President Trump and people like that at all. If you go on TikTok or you go on Instagram, what you're seeing an increase in is videos from people who are not British, not even American, just Europeans or people from all around the world, who come to London and they take these videos and they're like, what the heck is this, right? And so when you look at something like that, like the London fireworks, which, by the way, can I just say, the fireworks alone, I absolutely loved. I watched them, I loved them, I thought it was a brilliant display, and I think the fireworks alone are better than any of the other ones that we see anywhere else in the world. So I want to make that very clear. But it is our message to the world. All over the world, people will tune in. They want to watch London's fireworks. And they're giving this completely false representation, I think, of how harmonious our capital city currently is. And you can kind of see that by the huge airport-style security people needed to get into the event, the barriers that were all around it, the barriers all around Primrose Hill, all of that stuff. Like, you don't think it's just a little bit fraudulent, really, to say?
I think there's two things going on here. Number one, like I've already said, we do have an issue where immigration hasn't been properly controlled. We've got, obviously, a massive small boat crisis issue. And I think it's important to say, we've been in a year and a few months, that issue predated Labour. That issue actually was conflated under the Tories. So let's just put that in there. And I'm going to say, you know, our Home Secretary is talking tough on this. And actually, I think our Home Secretary... No, not just talking. Our Home Secretary is saying things that actually is going to clamp down on this. That is important.
Where's the evidence?
But there's
nearly a record year.
So there's that, which is really important. However... look, we've just said, and I really agree with you, this is a great country because of our parliamentary system and our history and all the great things and the social reform history and all these things. And yeah, maybe he could have included a bit of that. Maybe they didn't have time. I don't know. But at the same time, I'm really big on we are talking down our country too much. I don't like that. Okay. I think it's good that at that moment when people are watching the fireworks display that we're saying, actually, people aren't fighting in the streets. There are problems. And I tell you what, there are big problems.
In the streets.
This
is the beautiful thing about Twitter.
Duels with machetes.
Can I say something? Yes, and crime is a problem. Again, something that went up under the Tories, you know. But I'm not saying that isn't a problem. What I'm saying is I think it's absolutely fair enough on that evening that we are actually boasting in the great things about this country.
All right. Well, look, it's going to be a lively panel tonight, isn't it?